Folks, welcome to Yellow Cow TV. I'm Nadia. This is Miss Alicia.
Miss Alicia now.
Lana is here with us today as well. And we also have a very, very, very special guest.
Yes.
Valdeen Shears is here with us today.
Yeah,
did I
man.
pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Valdeen is a journalist, a mother of 7, a proud grandmother of 1. And she is also a victim turned survivor turned advocate. Welcome to Yellow Cow.
Thank you for having me, Nadia.
Yes.
And Miss
Alicia. Yes.
nice to be here.
We usually always laughing. This is our forum where we just always having fun, drinking, liming, talking all kind of craziness. But we feel as though, just based on the temperature of the country, especially at this time, it is something that we often make mention of because of our influence as women in entertainment who have a powerful platform. But especially now, like right now, we just feel as though we could take a pause from the constant laughing, and we can deal with issues that need to be dealt with, and just basically share information with not only women but with men as well.
Yeah.
Our viewers and our fans are like 85% female, 15% male. But we have a really nice community here, and we know that they would obviously want to hear from someone like you who's full of information. Full of information.
Yep.
So guys, today obviously we are dealing with domestic violence, domestic abuse. We also want to touch on Valdeen's story a bit, and we also want to basically give you guys some warning signs, like red flags, things that we should look out for, because we feel as though a lot of times we deal with these issues after the fact.
As a reactive.
You know what I mean? I feel like
Instead of being proactive.
Instead of being proactive, I feel like a lot of times, especially when I hear people say, so why you didn't just leave, or why you didn't just, and I always say, an abuser not gonna come to you like a violent person. When they meet you, they're not gonna be like, no.
The courtship happens naturally. Like any other relationship that ends in marriage and is a happily ever after. The abuser comes
with that package as well.
But then there's the saying, be careful of those who come bearing gifts.
Yes. So we kind of want to highlight the manipulation, especially. We will basically just let Valdeen take the floor here, because she, like we said, she's just full of knowledge. So you can start this story wherever you want to start it.
Okay, I will start with the fact or the reason why I'm so orange. It's because of the UN 16 days of activism across the globe that happens every year from the 25th of November to December the 10th, which is World Human Rights Day. And I want to start by, I have been plugging constantly Orange the World, because that's the theme.
Right.
And I'm not doing it because I like orange. I'm doing it because it says solidarity.
Right.
Yes.
Which is what this country lacks.
Yes.
Facts.
It's a harsh truth, but it lacks it for several burning issues, and one of the burning issues is domestic violence and abuse. And speaking as from the realm of, or the mindset of a victim, the first thing you have to look at is how alone a victim feels. So the question that is always asked, why you didn't leave? It's because I like to say the old saying, who in the kitchen is feel the heat.
Feel the heat. Yep.
So you know the dynamics. The victim in it knows the dynamic of why you're still there.
Yes.
And it goes from the red flags, and a lot of people now hear me out. Domestic abuse is not just between partner to partner or spouse to spouse. Domestic abuse could be friend to friend in school. So you have to look at how far back can or does domestic abuse happen?
Right.
Because a friend could be jealous and a friend could use certain things and manipulate you or control the relationship you have. That's abuse.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So our mindset, our culture is that domestic violence and abuse only happens spouse to spouse and in the family unit, but often it could be happening from within the school, from within even sibling rivalry. Doesn't always have to be sibling rivalry. It could be worse.
Yes.
So some of the red flags, in terms of the family unit, is being vigilant, being aware as a parent in terms of what is happening between or amongst the children to even start off with, and particularly even when it comes to bullying. And seeing the signs, because that's abuse.
That's abuse.
Yes,
Bullying
abuse.
is abuse. That's
It's just being abused by somebody who may not be a relative
Right.
or real in any relation, but it is a form of abuse. And listen, abuse takes so many faces. Victims have so many faces. A lot of people wearing masks. I'll tell Trinidad that a lot of people listen, wearing masks in Trinidad after Carnival. You're sitting in the maxi next to you, in church next to you, shopping next to you.
Yes.
You know, and we don't know. But what we have to do is, as relatives, we have to look for signs. So this is not just red flags for the person who's in the relationship.
In the relationship,
Because domestic abuse and violence affects the entire family.
Yes.
It may not appear to. But it does. Because one thing an abuser does is isolate a victim.
Oh, yes.
The control has to be that I don't want you around anybody who will enlighten you that you're being abused. So if family members, a friend, once they recognize that, I feel that person might want that person. Because they don't have you manipulated. They are master manipulators too.
Right.
You know, sometimes you know if you're going or coming. I can tell you.
True.
So some of the red flags would include, in the early part of a relationship, would include persistent possessiveness.
Right.
A possessiveness that could be misguided love, because, you know, like I was saying about the eye being the eyeball, you know, when they say, I see eyeball, you know.
But this person wants to know who you're going with, where you're going.
That is when...
And it's not coming from like a caring place.
No.
It's coming from
It's
like
keeping
a
tabs.
controlling place. Right.
It is keeping tabs. If you realize that, if they start to talk too early in the relationship about... I mean, yes, every woman wants to hear the man say, I want to marry you 2 months into the relationship. Because you feel, you know, he love me. But you have to be careful about that part of it, because it could be he doesn't see you as his property. And that's what abusers see you as, their property. If you hear the typical abuser, it'll be my wife. It sounds like ownership, my girl.
Yes.
It doesn't sound like, you know,
like somebody
a partner.
Right.
It sounds like property.
Yes.
So we have to be careful about the signs we want to see going into a relationship. And what it really says, and question it. Because that could be the difference between life and death. It could be, because you could be walking into a relationship that person, you probably the third victim on the line. You don't know.
But even in the situation where it is you talk about when you're abused, you don't know how to come out of it. In some cases, the family members telling you to stay. Family members encouraging you, say, so what you do?
Yes.
What you do?
They are. And even in the sense of religion plays a part in it too.
Right.
Because I remember once asking myself, who am I to condemn him?
Right.
Wow.
Because that's according to my religious belief. So I was told I had to forgive. But you can forgive to your own detriment, because the Bible talks about forgiveness, but it also talks about justice.
Right.
So you have to be able to balance it too. And then if he says that he did not make you with a spirit of fear, but you're afraid the man you're living with.
You have to listen to that too.
You know, and there's no voice higher than the power of God.
True.
I mean, with whoever religious source you seek your spirituality from, listen to your higher power.
Yes.
You know, and Other red flags would include, beside the isolation, it would include him or her, because they are female abusers.
Yes.
Let me put it out there.
Him or her,
And I'll tell you, the common abuse that females perpetrate is emotional and verbal abuse. With tongue is with weapon.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't make it any less serious. It doesn't justify it because provocation is real. It's not a justification, but it is real. And it goes vice versa.
Yeah.
So if you continue, let's say you're a woman and you continue to belittle a man, you're taking away his masculinity with the words you use, that is abuse.
Yes,
You
it
cannot
is.
get away from it. And if you're a mom and if you criticize your children, you have to compliment them.
Yeah.
Anything after that, in between on the side of that, is abuse. So all of these red flags, it should be to me in some kind of handbook. I think they are. Eh?
Yeah.
You could Google, you'll see all the different types of abuse and all that. But are we really reaching youths how they want to be reached? Because that's the problem with reaching youths. Eh? You can't lecture youths.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't put them in a room in a seminar and say, well, this is so and so from this department and they're going on and telling you, well, they won't listen to it.
Yeah.
They won't. If you this is where the artist and them comes in.
Yes.
Because you all need to understand the importance of the influence.
The platform. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, in terms of topical issues, in terms of issues like abuse.
Yeah, because I mean, I sometimes in my quiet time challenge some of the influencers. You understand? Because you will hear somebody put up something and say, yeah, I'm not on that, I don't stand for that. But it have a lot of things where we would like to hear, you know, or for you to speak on something as you influence, as you go along. You know, you can't change everybody's mind.
Yeah.
You can change a mind.
Yeah.
Or you can keep somebody, you can get somebody to think.
Yeah.
You understand? A man who probably is an abuser might be a real big fan of whoever artist.
Yeah.
And if this artist come and say, yo, I really not on that.
Yeah.
I denounce that.
Yeah.
Just the same way how it is, this person will say, you know, hey, I see so and so where our sneakers are going and buy that.
Right. Same thing,
It's
of
the same
course.
kind of influence that you have.
course.
And I just feel like a lot of people just want to hide in the dark because we've all been in a situation where it have the go back factor. You understand? And I just feel like people tend to give up. People tend to give up on somebody because you can't just dismiss it. You're giving up on people. Like
because they'll say, but me ain't getting involved in man and woman thing because
she always
going back, or he always going back. Yeah.
Typical. I remember I think, was it 2 years ago or something like that, there was a clip that ran, it went viral, of a woman being abused in a bar in Arima.
Yeah. That was supposed to be, I remember that, yeah.
And I remember seeing the comments, oh my God, social media can be cruel.
Yep.
I saw some comments, and I don't jump on threads like these because I will get pwned.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I will defend the victim because I would say you all do not know the background.
Yes.
You do not know.
And there's always a background.
Yeah.
And that's why it is that the comments is hurt me so much because somebody come out and say something and understand that what she was doing there, what he was doing there, and you couldn't leave. Yeah. You don't know the background, you don't know the level of the abuse that have you in this prison now.
And it is a prison.
Yeah.
That's where the name of the book comes from.
Let's talk about your book.
Yeah. That's a good segue. Yeah.
Okay, so like I mentioned before, the title of the book changed because my position changed.
Right.
When I got the title of the book, which was From Behind Mental Bars, I was still a victim. So God, I'm gonna put a pause on it.
Right.
And coming out of it, I was told to change it to Free from Mental Bars.
Right.
Because that is what being an advocate gave me.
Right.
It allowed me to be able to step out of that spirit of fear.
Right.
And I could say that for me, what pains me is thinking or reading about victims who didn't get the chance to be survivors. So in my mind, I am thinking she lived in fear and she died in it.
Yeah.
And that's so sad.
It is.
Yeah.
And like you said, the thing about it is people want to talk out, you know. I am telling you, there are victims who want to talk out. There are victims who are watching it now, who would be watching the show. There are victims who sit in a maxi, sit in a taxi, and they hear people discussing a woman who was killed last week. And they sit in there and they in it.
Right.
They want to speak out, you know. But it all goes back to, how will I be protected? Who will protect me?
Protect?
Are the laws going to protect me? Well, there's one, I'm going to raise up a little hornet's nest. As a victim and then as a survivor, I'll tell you something that there were some amendments proposed to the Domestic Violence Act 1999. And one of the amendments, I personally think, and I think it was amended, I think it puts victims in a real perilous situation. Because initially, for years, the system has been, if you report a case of domestic violence, then you are the victim, and let's say their children, they are usually the ones taken from the home. The amendment now states that the perpetrator is to be removed.
Right.
But if you have a perpetrator who had been threatening the lives of these victims, and you leave the victim in the home where he knows they are, and there are triggers to an abuser.
Yes.
Think of the man who worked years and Billy House. Because he Billy House.
Billy House from the
Remember most abusers are not acknowledging that they have a problem.
Right.
Right? So
you're looking at the overall different things and not the actual.
And most times abusers are themselves. In the case of abuse comes kind of hand in hand with infidelity. Right? And usually, in most cases, if you listen to several victims, they'll tell you that they were being accused while the person was having their merry time. And the first thing with an abuser that comes to mind, if you really make up your mind you want to leave and they see you leaving, is another man.
Yes.
They never acknowledge that she just reached her breaking point. She or him. Because I don't want men to say
he or she.
Right? So it's hardly ever taken from the point of view, how much time you gonna hit, man? I'm gonna just keep coming back. I just had enough. I really just want to go. Because I don't feel safe no more. This love don't come with licks. You know, and if you reach that point, and you're saying by this new amendment that you're going to take the abuser out of his home, I think they proposed to put him in a cool down cell or something like that, or some place that he could, probably get somebody will counsel him, and then he may appear normal, but that's another thing. Abusers could look like an altar boy.
Yes.
Right? Abusers could look like
so how can you say, well, okay, this person's safe enough to go back home?
An abuser could look like the well-dressed female usher in the church, because again we'll go back to their female abusers
as well,
right? And like what I was saying before, like with women tend to be more abusive emotionally and verbally. Now there are physical abusers, female physical abusers, but and the reason why there are hardly any cases or reports of that is because
the shaming of the man.
Yeah,
feel shame to report
to go in the station and tell big hardback policemen my wife.
No, mind you, I've heard of scenarios, and this is where it is. I hold the people who protect us accountable, police in particular, because I've been in situations or heard people in situations where it is they go. I might go with a friend with the same domestic violence incident, and I sat down and I see an officer say, "You make that woman," and shame them. So now when you shame them now, it's like they're not going to report it. No, you're going to hiding. You understand? Another situation is if it is a woman go into the police station they will say, again, you're shaming the woman.
Yeah.
But you still there with her, man.
No, I'll tell you something. I like to give kudos where it is deserved. So on my birthday this year, the Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, and the TTPS gave me a gift.
Yes.
They launched the gender-based violence unit.
Nice.
Right? And I think the unit is really going to concentrate on making a difference.
Making a difference.
Yes.
You know, and especially the sensitizing of police officers to cases.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
When people come to make reports, because it's no longer you have to make a report in a station nearest to you or where you live.
Yeah.
You can make a report in any station that an incident happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're making headway. And they're trying because they recognize that this is not going away, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So I want to give them kudos for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think there's still some that you must
need the pull up, need to recognize the seriousness of the matter, and to
But I understand too that the gender-based violence unit is focused on that, and I think that's what they needed. They needed to treat with it as it is a crime.
Right.
Not man and woman thing.
Not man and woman thing.
So give it the importance.
Give it the
just as
the
child
name
protection,
that it is.
just as we have child protection, criminal department, whatever different. Fraud squad has its own department. They needed to see the importance of treating with domestic violence as a crime.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because I remember once listening or looking at the law where it applies to domestic violence, and if two persons who are strangers get into a fight and you hit me above the waist, it's assault. It's treated as a criminal offense. But if a man and woman get into a fight and he or she hits the person above the waist, it's not treated. It wasn't treated with
the same kind of emergency.
Yeah, you were sent to do a medical, and it wasn't written down as assault to do grievous bodily harm.
Right.
That kind of thing. And I believe they're treating it differently now.
Okay.
So I want victims to know that there is a gender-based violence unit.
Yes.
And also hats off to the victim and witness support unit.
Right.
Because I had the pleasure of dealing with them. I had to use their services.
Yes.
And they are really, really instrumental in kind of bridging the gap to be able to show that there is some form of support. Like any organization, it is not that they're going to get it perfect.
Right.
But victims need to know that they're out there.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to touch on.
Like, because
if you are in a situation and you do want to reach out, you want to get that support, you need to get that help. Who do you call? What is available?
They really more visibility with the groups.
But they are. But you see, the thing about it is, Nadia and Alicia, a victim first has to have the mindset of wanting to come out. You have to be real serious about wanting to come out. Because even knowing, okay, you call 800 SAVE, right?
Right.
Because that's the first number to call, right?
SAVE.
The domestic violence hotline. And you call that, or you call 999. So you call the police directly. Now I think when you call 999, they'll put you onto GBV, the gender-based violence.
Right.
Okay.
And as a victim, do you really want to come out? Because that transitioning, your mindset has to be, if you're going into a shelter, if they don't take the perpetrator out of the house and they take the victim out of the house, you have to be in the mindset to start all over. And if they're children, it has to be starting all over.
Yeah.
But you see, what we don't have or what we don't publicize is a network of protection for victims.
Right.
So all agencies, to me, should be kind of intertwined.
Constantly, everybody have to come.
Because if you go into a shelter, two things I am telling you from the point of view someone who was in a shelter once, and as a mother, my mindset was, where are going? How are working? Because the abuser knows where you work.
Yes.
And a lot of people lost their lives on the job.
Yes.
In these situations. they know where you live before, so obviously you have to find,
new place.
you have to relocate. What is the correlation between the different agencies? Is there a real vibrant correlation between agencies?
It should be a bit more aggressive when they come together. And
so that if a victim comes into she calls 800, say if she gets into the safe house, she's feeling safe at that moment. What happens after? The counseling could do so much in terms of how she'll feel. But then there are domestic violence across the world, right? And there are, in terms of the Ministry of Labor, is there any importance put on setting up or mandating or proposing to corporate TT employ some of the persons who come out of the shelter?
Right.
Because you need to change where they work.
Where they work.
They can't live
go
in the
back to
shelter
the
forever. And going back to the job site is dangerous.
Yeah.
Anita Bahadur was killed in Sawa. He had gone to her job. He threatened her from in the prison. And then he went to her job. You know, so victims have to, listen, you have to get so, well, I felt like a detective for a little while, because I had to
really do some research.
Yeah, I had to try to be one step ahead of my thinking after a while. And not everybody is going to be like that or going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, for me, if I am coming out of a domestic violence relationship, I would never go stay by family.
Yeah.
Because you're jeopardizing the lives of the family. Abigail Chapman, the landlord, her daughter, the daughter's study buddy, 4 of them were killed in Lobby.
Yeah, wow.
So, you understand? Because, listen, it's only an act of God could change the mindset of an abuser. When he or she makes up her mind, because it could go from murder to murder, suicide.
Yes.
In the blink of an eye. You know? With the ABBA movement, first of all, I know that the protection order does not protect. I will say it again. The protection order on its own has not protected victims of abuse.
Right.
Has not. It is not bulletproof. It cannot stop the
charge, the
It cannot. It cannot.
Yeah.
So that's where I felt when I stumbled on a story of a young lady, a 36-year-old mother, called Amber Schnault in Maryland, Texas. And I saw where her mom went to a senator to get the Amber Law passed.
Right.
And that included the outfitting of the electronic bracelets, the devices, the GPS devices, to perpetrators of abuse.
Right.
To the perpetrator.
Right. And the law was passed, and it incorporates 2 features: the bracelet being outfitted in the court to the perpetrator, and a victim appellate.
Right.
Which would be on your phone.
Yeah.
But I know personally that because we're dealing with mindsets, and because I often try to be in the mindset of my abuser, so that I could prevent or avoid situations. Because I was thinking like that, I felt the real need for a batterer's intervention and for rehabilitative counseling for abusers, because we only focus on counseling the abused, which is usually, predominantly female. Right? What I think we don't often also do is look at the emotional and psychological trauma to children.
Yes.
So then, because then there's another thing. You can carry abuse to your own relationship. You can either become an abuser, or you can allow abuse or enable abuse. You know, as a child coming out of a household, witnessing. Because abuse doesn't always trickle down to the children. It could be just the 2 spouses. And another thing that Nadia mentioned is when we tend to think, or some persons might say, well, because I just lash back me being abused. I just fight. I bash up your windscreen, hit me a lash, so, you know. But that is abuse. You are being abused, and you're also abusing.
So either way.
So sit down and reflect. Sometimes we need to sit down and reflect on ourselves and see if we are abusers too,
Because that's why a lot of victims don't even recognize that they are in an abusive situation because they feel that they're fighting back. So it's like, if he hit me, I just hit him back, or if she hit me, I will hit her back. So they feel like we fighting, so it's not abuse.
And how toxic is that to children?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so that's why, again, I will go back to the third cause of the ABBA movement, which is, well, the first cause was getting the electronic bracelet to pass. I started the paper survey, so I would go to these events and I would pass all these paper surveys.
Right.
With just asking, I think it was about 4 questions. Would they support the bracelet?
Yeah.
Do they think it would act as a deterrent for repeat offenders? Do they think the protection order protects?
Right.
You know, and almost every single one of it came back for the bracelet
Right.
and saying no, that the protection order does not offer adequate protection.
Adequate protection, yeah.
But then I started to become frustrated with the system because I was still at the time facing my own, because I had a protection order at that time. So
The protection order is like 100 yards or something like
150, 200 for the most, I think. I don't know if people get more. But
Come on. How is that protection?
shooting range, attacking range.
Yeah.
And that's where they propose, the AMBA law in Maryland states that the police gets an alert when the abuser breaches the protection order.
like
5,000 feet.
5,000 feet,
No,
right.
no, where I live in my village, 5,000 feet is on the outskirts, I believe. I mean, I
Right.
failed maths twice, but I think it's the outskirts of where I live. No,
Right.
that is a fighting chance,
Yes.
and that's the police.
So when you get out, yes.
That's the police.
Yeah.
So it gives the police enough time
chance
to
to
come before it's a
Getting-
body,
yeah.
before it's a murder, suicide.
And also gives the victim an opportunity.
And I really think if someone has that on them, I'm going to ignore that call, If someone has that on them, a perpetrator, I think it's going to deter them a little, you know,
Yes,
because
of
when
course.
you know
Yes,
that the
of
person
course.
who coming at you,
Like watch that band there. Yeah.
licensed, you know, this is not the victim anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it takes away that sense of control and
Control,
power
yeah.
Yeah.
they have over
But
the victim.
I always feel like the victim, male or female, always bear the burden of responsibility in every sense.
In every sense.
And the abusers are always like you will hear about it, but it's not as
she went back.
yeah, you know,
why she
so I
went
don't
back?
think that the abusers feel the repercussion or any kind of consequence enough. You know, so like it's having like a ban. It will be, you know, all right, you have to wear this because it's like a probational period, I think you're talking about. So you know you have to wear this. So you know you will think twice.
Yeah, and even if they don't, even if they say, well, I bigger than that and I could still go, I determined to go at her, the police can get to the abuser
Yes.
before
Yeah.
the abuser
Yes.
reaches the victim.
Right.
Now, the victim app alert that corresponds with it gives an alert to the victim at 2,500 feet.
Right.
So she can call someone, try to get to safety, relocate herself before he can reach there.
Yeah.
And remember, in the meantime, the police already know,
Yeah. So they're on their way. Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta try to get that I think that's a real good idea. I
And
think
then
that's
we
a
have-
real good
Because we
idea.
have things in place like medical alerts and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
But
So-
that is where I'm in the process now. I've been speaking to, since today, to at least 1 or 2 persons to get the victim app alert done,
Right.
created. I want to call it the ABBA alert, because it stemmed from the ABBA movement. It initially, I thought the phone, but I don't want to give away nothing in terms of features, but it can be done in different ways.
Right.
Because abusers listening too,
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
right? So we
So
want to
we
make
wouldn't get
sure,
into too much detail,
right?
but we were trying to get that pushed so that
Exactly.
it could happen. It could come together.
Exactly. And
I
I just
like that.
I just watch enough movies
Yeah.
to know that things can happen. Electronic, the technology is so different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see a speck on a wall and it could be a camera.
Oh, yeah.
So that's to tell you how we can use technology now
To help.
save a life.
Yeah.
To be able to give victims a real sense of becoming survivors. Because if you are a victim that comes out of your situation, but you're living in fear, you're watching over your shoulder, you're jumping at everything, you're still a victim.
Yeah.
Even when you relocate.
Yeah.
And I think that ban could even cross over into having, I mean, I don't know what legislation they would do to how you acquire it, but even with young people who going out, who traveling on their own,
yes.
you know,
Ashanti Riley.
Ashanti Riley had something like that to hit on her hand and be like, I'm in distress.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. I just think that these are these little things that, you know, we should
even something as somebody, you're walking around and somebody following you.
Yeah. You hit that. And
you hit it.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that.
I like that.
So
before we wrap up, I actually wanted to just go over one more time just the numbers or anybody that wants to reach out or you know who they can contact.
Okay, no, I have some written down.
Of course.
So aside from 800 SAVE, which is the domestic violence hotline, there is you can call or contact the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. There's a Facebook page. It's best you visit their Facebook page. You'll get their numbers.
Right.
I mean, everything is on social media now. Everybody has a page.
Right.
You can contact Rape Crisis Society. You can contact, they have a 24-hour hotline. You can contact the police at 999, which more than likely will put you onto the gender-based violence unit.
Right.
Or call a station and they would still put you onto the unit.
Right.
If it's domestic violence related.
Yes.
It's that. There's the Children's Authority at 800-2014. There's the legal aid if you need assistance. In terms of if you're trying to come out of it and there's custody of children, property, a divorce or anything like that. There's the Victim and Witness Unit. That number is 624-8853. There are other numbers it's listed. They also have their own Facebook page. There is the Child Protection Unit. There's the Child Guidance Officers, National Family Services, Families in Action, Childline, which is 800-4321. And first and foremost, there's telling someone. For me, it was spiritual, so I spoke to God first.
Right.
But telling someone that is not going to take sides.
Right.
Telling someone that would not judge you or tell you to stay in it and work it out.
Right.
Because if there are death threats being made, if you feel your life is in jeopardy, there is no working it out.
Yeah. There is no.
There is no working it out. Work it out from a distance if you have to.
Yeah.
Work it out in your own safe space.
Yeah.
Allow that person to get the counseling they need.
Yes.
You know, and you get the counseling you need to heal properly.
Yeah.
Because you cannot heal if you're still in the same situation. You cannot heal while you're hurting.
Yeah.
So
you can't.
And if you're in the environment where you're being hurt, even if the person has shown signs of change and you're still in the environment where you were hurt, and where the potential is still there for you to be hurt again.
Yeah.
So work it out from a distance if you have to. I'm not telling women to leave your husband. Or husbands to leave your wives. What I'm saying is, if you feel your life is under threat, if you think you are in a toxic relationship, if you think your children are being exposed to in a toxic, dysfunctional home, you need to seek help.
Yes.
Get help. Talk to somebody. Do not continue to suffer in silence.
Get help. So folks, thank you guys so much for liming with us today. Of course, we always liming and kicks in. But of course, these types of conversations are necessary.
Yep.
They are necessary. So we want to thank Valdeen Shears for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Full of information.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
And it's still, I had to pinch myself a little bit. It's still feeling surreal.
Oh.
Because I didn't know this is where God was going to lead me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just thankful and grateful that I could use whatever platform is presented to me.
Yes.
To be able to speak out after being someone without a voice.
For
so
so
long.
long.
21 years.
Wow. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one.